Okay, hello everybody. It is May 3rd. Holy cow. I feel like every time I say the date on these calls, holy cow follows because the time goes so fast. We have Joy on tonight. We kind of decided to combine calls with each other's teams and do a little hot seat / maybe share a lesson. That's been working well for us now. And if you can hear a tractor, it is because there's literally Maddox are planting right outside my window. Kind of funny. Hashtag Wisconsin. But anyway, Joy is a 2-star diamond. She's working on that 3-star qual right now, which she will get very soon. I guarantee we'll see that shout out happening. She is an all-star legend for Success Club. She's a mom of 2, and she lives in Colorado, right? Colorado. Yes. There's still snow there right now?
No. Thank goodness. There was.
Yeah, I bet we have pretty similar. Well, you probably have a little bit more snow than us, but our winter was horrible. Horrible, horrible. Mm-hmm. I hate snow. I don't know why I live here. June 3rd. Oh, I just said May. Oh my gosh. June 3rd. So, wow. Yeah. Anyway, so tonight, we kind of wanted to do like a round table hot seat. If you guys have any questions to ask us, we are open books and we'll share anything. One thing I wanted to just kind of start with was this new, I guess, mentality around getting people started. And I think so often we put so much pressure on hitting Success Club right out of the gates. And sometimes that deflates your balloon if you don't hit it in the first couple months, or maybe you hit a dry patch and you sense yourself getting frustrated because you haven't hit it. And it makes you feel like you're not a good coach, or you're not ever going to hit it again or whatever. Like you're spinning your wheels and you're trying so hard, and it can feel defeating. I kind of want to change the tone a little bit and do this new hashtag with our team called #StartWithSomething. So if you're somebody who maybe hasn't sold one challenge pack yet, I want your goal in June to start somebody with something, whether that be a year of Beachbody on Demand, and when you create their share a cart, you add on Energize because it's something you love too. And you tell them, hey, I added on Energize. I love it. If you don't, just feel free to remove it. That's fine. But what I want you guys to think of is the long term here. Do I think Success Club is important and it should be a non-negotiable every month if you are trying to build a business that is stable and is going to thrive in the future? Absolutely. Do I think that it makes you feel better if you do something rather than nothing? Absolutely. Do I think that team volume is attached to all of the products that we have in our tool belt? It is. So in the long term, what I want you to focus on is trying to hit Success Club, but while you're getting there, shoot for starting people with something. And those of you who are maybe close to Diamond or Diamond and beyond, I really want you to think about tacking on those products to a challenge pack sale, to think about the performance stack, think about adding on Energize to every single purchase to add that TV on so that your team volume is growing. So income in this business comes from team volume, and that's really what we want to grow here. So I think the ultimate solution for people is obviously fitness, nutrition, and accountability, and the team, right? So if you can get people started with a challenge pack as a coach, that's the best choice, I think, personally. But I'm always trying to add something on that I think that they would love. Because if somebody finds a product that they love and they love the community that they were brought into, they're going to stay for a longer period of time. Think about why you guys are all here, why you guys all hopped on the call. It's because you love the team, you love the community, and you love what Beachbody has done for you. So if we are turning people away, or we ourselves are getting frustrated because we aren't helping, we feel like we're not helping people, let's just get them started with something and get them into this community. And take that pressure off. And I think you will find that hitting Success Club then, it does come easier and it does come naturally. But if you're spinning your wheels right now, let's just start with something. So anyway, I will hand it over to Joy if she wants to add anything on as we kick off. And then we'll do a roundtable. Or if you guys came with questions, throw them in the chat and we will answer them. All right, Joey.
I was going to share my biggest kind of lesson I've been brewing on recently, and it's something that I personally walked through that kept me stuck at Diamond for a really, really long time. So I'm kind of going to speak about it to the point of being stuck at Diamond, but it applies in your whole business and being stuck anywhere in your business. And I realized that I sat stuck for so long because I was always saying, like, I can't find business builders, or the Success Club system thing is stupid. Why do they have to make it so complicated? If it's not HD, you don't get the points. And if you don't have your active order, you don't get the points. And like, it's easy to miss a couple of things, and then you feel like you lose, even though you've done the work, or you've done the work. Or why can't I, or why aren't people showing up, or all these things that I was saying. I realized that was complaining, and complaining is just a nice word for excuses. And anytime you're doing that, you're blaming, you're not taking responsibility for yourself and your success. And that the biggest switch I've made is anytime I find myself wanting to complain or blame or say, well, this happened, that's why I didn't get this success, I stop and say, what did I not do to make this work? Because it always comes back to me. And if I'm not recruiting business builders, that's 100% on me. If my team's not motivated and not showing up, it is my job as the leader to look at myself. How am I showing up? Am I showing up for team calls? Am I showing up for Team Rockstar Fit calls? Am I showing up on Diamond calls? I wasn't for a long time. And here I was complaining that my team isn't. And yet I wasn't setting that example. How am I showing up in my own recruiting, in my own Success Club, my own post stories? Where am I letting myself off the mat? Where am I complaining instead of taking responsibility? You can't complain and take responsibility at the same time. You can't recruit business builders and grow diamonds without taking 100% responsibility for your own success. So if I felt like I didn't have any coaches that wanted to work the business, that was my fault, because I wasn't talking about the business correctly and I wasn't recruiting the right kind of people. That was a reflection on me. There's not a reflection on my team. When you complain about Success Club rules being stupid, when you say you can't find these people, that people turn out to not be the right fit, you're setting the tone for the future of your business. Complaining only brings you more of the same thing. Because what you focus on, you find. So if that's all you're talking about, that's all you're going to find and keep finding. 2, successful people look at the same situation and demand more of themselves. So they look at that and go, okay, what do I need to be doing better? Instead of saying, this happened, poor me. They spend their time and energy on solutions, not problems. And you repel business builders when you talk like that. You repel people from joining you. When you're complaining that you can't find anyone to join you for a challenge group, you repel people. They don't want to join anyone who's sitting around talking like that. You can't attract what you don't have or you aren't doing. If you continue to hold on to your complaints and your excuses, no matter how justifiable they are, because I've had some, you will keep them and repel the things that you want because your hands are closed. And this is what I was doing for so long. I was holding on to this team of basically discount coaches being like, come on, you guys, or holding on to all these excuses, and my hands were closed and I couldn't accept anything new because my hands weren't open. And so my mantra the last few months has been open hands, open hands. When people want to leave and want to quit, I go, okay, open hands. There is now space for someone new who wants to join me, instead of beating myself up. If someone doesn't end up signing up, open hands. I'm not going to rely on one person to help me hit Success Club. I will make sure I do the work so it doesn't come down to one person doing an HD order. Because last month I started at -2 Success Club points, and that sucks when that happens. So you have to do even more work. Let go of all your excuses. Let go of your team and trying to manage and motivate them. Let go of complaining. You can have a team and you can have people joining you, or you can have complaining. You can't have both. Every time you find yourself complaining or making excuses, this was eye-opening for me. Write that down on your I'm not willing to do list. I don't know if you read the Build to Last book, but he talks about your willing to do and not willing to do list. And I was like, well, there's not that much that I'm not willing to do. And then I caught myself being like, oh, well, I don't have time, or I can't, or, oh, well, this happened and that was unfair. That's all still unwilling to do list. And the longer that list is of unwilling to do, the less your success. Your success grows when that list gets shorter. So you got to look at that list and say, how can I move that to my, I will figure this out, I'm willing to do it list. It's your secret key to success in this business. Everyone wants to know what the key is. I'll tell you what the key is. It's shortening that list. You got to take everything off of that list if you can, or almost everything. And side note, if you have time to be complaining to other people about how frustrating Success Club is, or how frustrating your coaches are, or why people are stuck, you're not taking enough action. And that was my biggest problem last year. I had all this time to sit around and brainstorm on how to motivate my team or how to recreate all these things. Dude, the last few months, I don't even got time. Like, I don't have time to even talk about that because I am so focused on the positive energy and solutions and momentum just moving forward. So wanting to brainstorm is a nice word for sometimes venting, which is complaining. And I got caught up in that instead of, dude, you don't have time for that. You should be taking more action. If you were taking more action, you wouldn't even be complaining about these problems. Like, you want new problems to complain about. Successful leaders make their decisions faster and they stick to them. They don't waffle and waver because the first outcome didn't reflect well. So here's an example. I decided at the beginning of the year that I wanted to have a separate thread for what I was going to say were business builders. And that was people that were hitting Success Club and were active emeralds or higher. And I set the standard with my team. I said, hey, I'm going to start this thread. It's for active emeralds and higher. And if you're hitting Success Club, you'll be in there. And if you miss it 1 month, we'll pull you out, but you're definitely welcome to come back in. Well, at the end of that first month, when you have to take a bunch of people out, it's easy to go, well, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe that would discourage them. Maybe, like, I don't want to tell them they're not a business builder if they hit 4 or 2. And I was like, nope, I don't even need to think about it. I already told them. That's the standard. Yes, I'm still here to help everyone. Yes, you can still be a business builder, but that's the standard I had set. And I realized before I did a lot of waffling back and forth, and that's confusing too for your team. But I think it obviously just comes back to belief and knowing that you can have what you want. Like, you can have what you want to ask for. That it's coming to you, the right people are coming to you. So that is what helps you to be open-handed, is like knowing, hey, it's okay. If someone leaves me, it's not the end of the world. There's so many other people out there that want to join me. I just have to find them. Kind of going back to that abundance mindset. So that was something I was thinking about today. It's been a huge turning point for me in my business.
I love that. I just listened to a Jay Shetty podcast today about how to find more time, or how to make the time for the things that you say that you don't have time for. And one thing he kept saying was, wake up 1 to 2 hours earlier than you normally do. And he's like, obviously, if you have babies that aren't sleeping through the night, I get it, it's going to be difficult, but then wake up 15 minutes earlier, 20 minutes earlier. And that goes hand in hand with going to bed maybe an hour or 2 earlier instead of staying up and watching a show or whatever it is. But he said in the morning, if you wake up with a slow, rested, like, peace of mind, where you can concentrate on the things that you would love to get done in the morning, but instead you are always pushing to the side because you're rushing to get out the door, to get the kids ready, to get breakfast, blah, 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 to get to work on time. If you have that 1 to 2 hours in the morning, I think we can all think of a morning that we had where we were like, oh my gosh, it felt so good to get up early and get all that stuff done before I started my day. Then that carries on throughout your entire day, versus not having time for your business because you get home after work and you're exhausted and you're tired, and then you kind of start to resent it instead of maybe making pockets of time when you aren't rushed or stressed or tired to work your business. So I really like that analogy that he gave. And you hear it all the time, but he's like, you hear wake up earlier. Nobody tells you, that could just mean wake up 30 minutes earlier or 1 to 2 hours earlier. The CEO of Apple wakes up at 3:45 every day. That's what he said too. I was like, that's a stretch. I'm not going there, but that's why he's the CEO of Apple. Does anybody have any questions? Joy took off like a rocket this year, and she has a no nonsense attitude, and I think that you will continually see that in leaders in this company. They're not the ones that are skipping calls. They're not the ones that are making excuses. They're not the ones that sit around and complain instead of take action. They're the ones that are on calls with one or two other people all the time, brainstorming on how they can do things better, how they can make things more fun, probably taking trainings and applying what you learn instead of just brainstorming. So pick her brain, ask her questions, or if you have teammates on, feel free to ask me anything. The time is yours now, so ask away, especially if you feel stuck. Don't just sit there and be on a call wasting your time and not get any help. Make sure you take advantage and ask. My daughter's crying.
I'm surprised mine's not in here.
Anybody? Okay, if you're not hitting SC10 every month and making $1,000 a week, you got a question to ask.
How did you get out of that frustrated mindset? Like you talked about that negative thought process, all that head trash of just, turning it off and being more positive and looking internally. Like, how did you filter all of that out?
Well, part of it is when you're taking a lot more action, the little things don't bother you as much. One person telling you no doesn't bother you when you're talking to 20 people at one time. Like that's just one iron in the fire. So when you're taking a lot more action, it doesn't bother you as much. But two, when you've already decided, like it will happen. You've made up your mind. I know this will happen. I just get to be curious now about how. I get to work. I get to freaking work, but I just get to be curious about how. It's also not as frustrating because it doesn't matter because you're like, I still know this is going to happen. So it's kind of a scarcity versus abundance mindset for me, at least. And I focus on spending my thoughts and my energy on the positive. And what really helped with that is gratitude. I find if I'm frustrated and if I feel like people are just taking from me, it's because I'm not giving enough. I need to give more. I need to sit down and write some cards to some people and tell them thank you and tell them how much they mean to me or send a little gift to someone. When I get into this, what's in it for me? Like, why does it feel like people are taking from me? It's because I'm not giving. So I have to really try to practice gratitude every morning. I've been writing cards every day since the beginning of the year. I try to do 3 a day, and I will pick sometimes clients, sometimes coaches, sometimes friends, sometimes random people off of social media that are in my feed. And I just say, hey, can I have your address? I want to send you a little something. And they'll give me an address and I'll send them a card. And this one girl, she was a new mom. She just had her 5th baby. I sent her some Energize too, some packets of Energize. And I just said, I love seeing your face in my feed. You brighten it up. You have such positive posts. I'm sure you're tired. Here's some of my mama crack. I think you'll love it. And I got a message from her like several weeks later going, dude, were you the one that gave me that stuff that really works? And I was like, yes, that was me. But people got these cards and I would get messages and they're like, I don't even know what to say. Like, I've never gotten a card like this before. It means so much to have someone send me a note that just says, like, I noticed you and I wanted to tell you I hope you're having an awesome day and thanks for being a bright spot in mine. That is cool to give that to somebody and then to hear them say that back to you. And that makes you focus on everything that you do have to be grateful for. So I think that really helps.
I like that. When you say get to work, I know people are like, what does she mean get to work? Like planning out challenge groups, planning out social media posts. Explain a little bit about like what that means to you while you're working. What are some of the things you're doing just off the top of your head? I'm sure they're probably wondering.
What am I doing when I work? Always a post. I shoot to do 4 posts per week that have a call to action for the business. Because I looked at Danny Detra, and that girl freaking talks about it all the time. And I was like, she's the queen right now of recruiting and growing a business. So I'm going to do what she's doing. And I realized what you talk about, you attract. So if I want to attract business builders, I got to talk about it a lot more. And now I don't want to fill up my entire feed with just posts about the business. So I try to do 2 posts a day. So I do one that's more of like a lifestyle or motivational thing or just fun. And then I'll do something about the business and then maybe a challenge group. But my posts are usually to the business and inviting about the business or talking about the business somehow. I do my stories. I do an invite to a challenge group every single day. I just have them vote on a poll. And then every other day I try to do an invite to the business. And every Sunday I do like a specific slide, basically, that you have to go through. Inviting to a sneak peek. We've been doing a sneak peek. Jess, I say you're asking about that. We've been doing a sneak peek every week for like 3 months now. I don't know, a long time. We've been doing a sneak peek every single week because that's what we're doing right now. We're building a team. So because I'm putting it on and a couple of my coaches are, and my latest challenge to my team was everybody put their own on, because when you do your own, you invite more. I invite because I realize, oh crap, I have to fill this up. I'm throwing another sneak peek this week, so I got to fill this up. Now, Jess, I see your question asking about an attitude shift or is there more than that, in bringing in business builders. I started to get real, I like to use the word ballsy in my posts. So I started calling my shot publicly. I started saying things that were kind of scary to say. Like, I am growing $1 million brand. I'm growing a team that's going places. Like, I am looking for 15 women who want to be making this amount of income. I started declaring it and putting it out there publicly and telling people, this is my train. It's going big places and you want to get on. You have to tell them where you're going, or they don't want to get on your train. And I started calling big shots because that's what I want. And I think it's all in positioning as far as business builders go. You have to position yourself as a mentor that can take them places. And that doesn't mean that you have, but it does mean that I will figure it out. And that's what I started doing. I was like, I will darn well figure this out because I know I will not quit. So I don't have someone that I can point to and say, look, I mentored them all the way to this. I mean, I do somewhat now, but I didn't when I started. But I was like, I will. I am the person. I will take you there. This is where I'm going. I'm looking for serious people. Like I started to sound more serious. And then it was ironic. You start to attract people who want someone like that. So I had this girl who was a lawyer. She was a client of mine for forever. And I had said to her last fall, hey, maybe you should look into this coaching thing. And she's like, oh, I like being a successful lawyer. And I was like telling Peter, I feel like I should say, I know you're a successful lawyer, but you should look into this coaching thing. And he was like, no, you should say, you're a successful lawyer. That's why you should look into this coaching thing. He was like trying to help me with that. And she was kind of like, oh, we'll see. Well, then in January, when I started being like, dude, I'm going big places. You can get on, but this train is leaving. I'm not staying around. She called me up and said, hey, I've noticed you're kind of a badass now. I think I want to coach. And I was like, what? And she freaking signed up and she hit Success Club 10 her first 3 months in a row with like no help. And I was like, that is how you do it. You decide. Like, I'm a badass CEO. I know where I'm going. And then people want to join that because they trust you. They trust if I'm serious about a business, I want to join someone who's more serious about the business and knows what they're doing. I'm very, very honest in my coach sneak peeks. I stopped sugarcoating anything. So I took a lot of notes from Jess Dukes and we run it very similar to hers, where we go over the cost to get started. I break down challenge packs. I show them exactly what they make by selling challenge packs. Like, I'm not shy talking about how they're going to need to be inviting. And I was telling them 30 people a day. I tell them now probably 10. Like, because I'm like, hey, look, if you're serious about making an income, you're going to have to be doing this. And you're going to have to be doing it every day. Lindsay, she's on here. She's killing it. She's already enrolled in Hit Success Club her first month. She signed up as a full-time mom of 2, also working a full-time business, after seeing one of my sneak peeks, and she knew going into it, she decided, I'm going to get up at 4 a.m. every day to work the business before I go to work. And she's been doing it because she went through the sneak peek and heard there's a real business. It's going to take real time. You're not going to make 6 figures your first year, but you will make 6 figures if you stick with it and put in the time. So it's positioning it that way, and positioning yourself as someone who's serious about this brings you those kinds of people. But we're so scared to do it because we're afraid of scaring people off. But that's the thing. You want to scare off the wrong people, right? Like, the right people won't be scared off. And again, that's that open hands thing, because I had coaches get scared off, right? When I started running hard, and I had to do the whole open-handed thing. The right people will rise and run with you, and the people that aren't, that are sitting on the fence, are going to decide one way or the other. So don't be afraid to lose people, because they come. That was a long answer.
No, I definitely think like the sugarcoating it or talking about the business like it is in your sneak peek, that's what Danny and I have been doing. And it's like, it attracts the people who aren't afraid to show up. It's not, you're going to repel the people who don't want to put in any extra work, which is a lot of people, but that's okay because it isn't the right fit for them.
Obviously, I do my power hour. I do my invites, all of that, and follow-ups, all of that. So that's all work. I try to do mentorship calls with team that wants it, people that are asking for it and implementing what I've asked them to implement before.
Nice. Oh gosh, Jax is approaching my door.
Oh no.
Oh Lord. Okay, does anyone else have any other questions? For your challenge groups, do you do year-long or do you do
I have
start,
a year
stop?
long. I have a year long in Facebook. A couple of my coaches do theirs in an app, so I tell people if they want the app, they can jump in with them. But I do the Facebook year long, and sometimes we do a fun challenge in there, and sometimes we don't. But honestly, I keep it pretty basic, so it's not really time consuming.
When you sign up new coaches, do you get them onto GSR? Do you plug them into Team Rockstar Fit training? What does that look like for you?
This is something that I've been kind of changing. So my latest revision, they get a welcome email from me that gives them the task of requesting into Team Rockstar Fit and the champions page. And then it gives them a 90-minute video to watch that goes over everything. And I did not even make this video myself because I'm all about using other people's resources. So I took Jess Dukes, which is on YouTube. It's a 90-minute. She literally is like, you just signed up. Here's your first steps. She goes over, take your pictures, your before pictures, pick your program, like do a coming out post, sign up your spouse for Emerald. It's 90 minutes, but that is their entire training. And I tell them that in the email. I go, it's 90 minutes. I don't care if you listen to it when you're doing your makeup, when you're driving in the car, when you're cleaning. I don't care if you break it up, but here's your 90 minutes and then you're done. And I tell them when you're done with that, to set up your call. And they text me to set up. And then I add them to the say last, respond to this an intro about I want to introduce you to the team. Where you're from, what do you do, what's exciting you about coaching. Them take that initiative intro, which is so they write that, get that back to text me for their GSR page. Even if they don't intro, I put them in there, but they might them post. After they've done all of that and watch that come into Team Rockstar Fit training. That's about it. I tried to overwhelming. So there's literally like 4 steps in the email, and they're very request in Team Rockstar Fit, request on the champions page, watch this video, text me when you're done, and here, write me your intro. Because before it was like this real all this stuff. So now it's very short, simple. So that's it. certain method of what I post to stories. Guys, I feel like I'm so not the expert with stories. Don't ask me about them. Because I do the same thing every day. It's kind of boring, actually, but people like it. People, I say, kind of like it. I do my work and show them a workout. I always show them my mama crack. I always do a poll inviting them to join me. And then I always, so if you show your shake every day, you will rarely get someone saying, I don't want to do shakes, because they already know I do my shake every day. I try, when I sit down at the beginning of the week, I plan out my stuff so that I know, okay, I'm going to invite to the business on this day. I'm going to invite to a challenge group on this day, whatever. So I try to then go, okay, maybe what can I give them on this day? And what can I give them on that day? That's something for free. That's like free information. So here's a recipe that I could give this day. And on the next, what product could I show them that I like? Then the next day, like, what is something in a store that I could show them that I like, or something like that. So I try to plan out things that I could give them today. It doesn't always happen, but I try to do that. That's my method for stories. And I try to do a live once a week. And I tell my coaches to do a live once a week. Yeah, it's simple. So.
I have a quick question.
Nope, that's okay.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask Theresa how I wanted to know, I mean, Joy's my coach. I know how she does her stories. I was curious for Theresa.
I had the same question.
Mine, in the morning, show making my Energize. Maybe some kid stuff, but usually not, because I don't have a whole lot of time, because I need to get up 1 to 2 hours earlier. And then I go to the gym after I drop my kids off at school, so I always share a clip from my workout. I usually do it, I'll like film myself in Instagram and save the clips that I like in 15-second increments. I found that I was like wasting time or stopping too much doing it as I was working out. So what I'll do is I'll do my whole workout, and then I'll take some pieces from my workout that I liked, and I'll do those moves. And then I put them into Triller. That app, add some music to it, speed it up, make it look cool. And then I put that in my stories. After that, I try to share like a little bit of a day in the life of a coach. So if I'm working on stuff or if I'm on calls, I always share that. Someone once told me, probably Trina, but she's like, never get on a call or like never not share stuff you're doing with the team, because so many women crave that friendship, and they don't have it. So they're watching their stories and they see that they could be a part of this call right now and they might want to join you. So I always share every Zoom that I'm on. The app is Triller, Triller. Another couple other apps that I like to really use with my stories is Unfold, so UNFOLD, and another app is Over. Those are just apps that make it look nicer and cooler. If you ever see stories and you're like, oh, how does she do that? Probably those two apps. Yeah, it looks really neat. And you can save stories in there. So like Joy talked about her series of stories that she uses on Sunday nights to invite to her coach sneak peek. You can share those, save those in there. So I have like a bunch of different sets that I'll use, whether it's, shout outs or inviting to the team, things like that. I do share, so I was good at this. I haven't been lately, but I take my dog for a walk every day. I'll share that. And then I usually share the podcast that I'm listening to while I do that. Basically, I just try to share that I for sure share fitness, for sure share my Energize. I need to share my shake more. That's smart. I rarely do that. When I do that though, I take a picture of it and I look at the back of the packet and I list out all the ingredients that are like trendy right now, like matcha, ashwagandha, like all the things. And people will be like, what is that? What are you drinking? So like Joy said, like add value, but I also try to pique people's curiosity with stuff I share in stories. And I also share a lot of like mom stuff, like, I don't know, a bunch of mom tips. That would be, I think, my added value is mom stuff, mom hacks, other Instagram. I heard this too, so I do this a lot. There's no method to my madness. This is just stuff that I share. I'm not consistent every day with everything, just my morning stuff, I would say. But what I try to do is tag the companies of like every article of clothing that I have on every single time. So I'll tag them, but I'll pinch it down really tiny and like slide it out to the side so you can't see it. So if you guys are trying to grow your account, I do that with the hopes of a reshare happening. And a lot of times people do reshare my stories to their stories, and I'll get a lot of followers from that. I also get people are now starting to send me like products to review, and I am really hesitant on like what I share and what I don't share from stuff that people send me, because I don't want my page to become like this promotional, everything I touch I'm going to tell you about. But if it's stuff that I think my audience would like and I actually truly like, I'll share that. But again, that came from tagging people in everything that I use. So yeah, that's about it.
The day in your stories, nobody cares what they do. So tags and just say like, or draw the area of the brand or your shorts. People love
Yeah.
So just do sort of a screenshot in the mirror with the brands.
Yeah.
Also, you can all go to Amazon affiliate for free right now, and anything you tag from send people a link for, just so you know. Once you hit 10,000 swipe up feature, you do.
I have a question for Theresa, coaches. I know that you started when you were working, and I have a hard time talking about this because I'm friends with, and I don't like I'm doing my job, like so I hold myself back from business really at all. I stick with like this and that kind of stuff. So advice for how to kind of work through that and be, but also.
Sorry, my internet is so choppy. I think you work full time, but you find yourself holding back talking about the business because you don't want to piss off your boss. In short, it's right. Okay. While I was working, what I would do, like I talked about it, they knew that I did it. I never had a goal to quit my job, to be honest. Like I didn't even think it would be possible. So I was never nervous to share about it because I didn't think that it would turn into that. I literally, from the time I decided was going to quit and quit, was probably a 2-month period. Because I was like, oh, wait, I'm actually making enough money that I could replace my full-time income. I hate my job. What am I doing? So that I wasn't really worried, but what I would do is I never posted while I was at work. I always posted before I went to work. I would take my lunch, like Trina has calls during the day at like 9 and 11 o'clock. So on those days, I would take my lunch earlier if I could and hop on those Zooms live. And then I would post while I was on the Zoom. Like I would try to like be taking notes and like turn it into a post while I was listening to the Zoom to save a little time there. And then when I got home at night, I really tried hard to be present with my kids. And then when they went to bed, I would work. Some nights was shorter than others. Some nights I didn't work. Some nights I worked 2 hours. But I never abused the privilege of posting while I was at work because of the same thing, just a respect thing. And I didn't want to get fired. So I think you can talk about it and be confident about what you offer because it's something you do on the side. As long as you're not abusing your work hours to talk about it, I don't think it should be an issue. And if it is, then I just be open with them and just be like, hey, this is actually what I do. Maybe if you understood it a little more, whatever. And just explain to your boss. say I would never do this while I'm at work, but it is something I really love doing on my spare time, and it's done XYZ for me, and I love to help other women feel the same way. Jen, I'm working on a retirement goal. There you go. You work at Nike, they lost one employee. Oh. Who? Sure. You know, well, then they should pay you more.
Right?
Tell them that you'll promote their shoes on your social media. And
Yeah. So I was saying, I worked at Nike, same department, which is funny. Yep.
I don't think that they can fire you if you're talking when you're not abusing.
I'm not necessarily worrying me. I'm more just worried even with my boss. I manage a team of people. I get a little worried that they're going to be divided. Like, I don't know. Head.
Yes.
You know I am.
A lot of
Yeah. Yeah, and so, but I don't want to like be myself back from being my post to like, well, say, hey, come follow and coaching, and I don't know
what do you think?
I was just gonna. I'm probably like I love my job and I love, but for me, I do spin it on like how like I'm building my kids' college. I want extra retirement, like because, but I'm not doing this to quit. I do know that I want more. The surgeon I worked 10 years older than me, so he's retired before, so I'm gonna need something to do. The kind of stuff that I say in my post is like, have you thought about your kids because you have children or not? But
yeah,
I just make a list of things that do that not necessarily a job. So that's what I would do.
yeah. Thank you.
I think also like this humanity right now is they all want us to be in a workplace like perfect, like thanks. But if you just think about personal development and what fitness does, you're like, okay, I come to work and I can actually get my workout in, and it just like whole day. So like, okay, that I have sets me up. That's why I can lead you as your.
yeah, I agree. My internet, hopefully you can hear me when I'm talking, but every time someone's talking, it's like, it's like fine. And then all of a sudden, I just said, make a list of all the ways Beach Buddies help make you a better, more confident leader in your job. Like if the conversation ever does come up, or maybe just be open with your boss on like, I don't know if you're planning on quitting your job or not, but maybe you're not. And yeah, be open with them. They can't, it's like you being in a volleyball league at night, like they can't really control what you're doing outside of work. If it's, I don't know. I mean, maybe they can. People are nuts.
A secret volleyball
It's
league.
a volleyball league.
All your challengers. So guys are doing this thing. No.
All right. Anybody else have anything? No? All right, this was so good. I love getting on these calls Mondays. I have pages of notes here because I didn't grab my notebook. Thank God my printer's sitting right here. But I love it. Basically, like what I took away from Joy is if we complain, we're just going to attract people who complain. If we're blaming things in our business, for not going the way that we want them to go. Let's just take a look at ourselves and reflect back on what we could do better. She said it always comes back to her self-reflecting. How is she showing up? Is she showing up for calls? Is she giving back to her team pages? Where is she letting her foot off the gas? If she's not finding business builders, where is she maybe missing the opportunity to talk about the business? I really liked the open hand thing. So if somebody leaves and you're really like holding on to them, hoping that they would run and they quit, and you're like feeling pretty down on yourself, which we've all been through, especially as you're trying to build a team, you're going to have people let you down. Keep those hands open. And I loved when she said, now that I'm so curious and I'm pushing and I'm working and I'm hustling towards my goals, instead of thinking about all the things that aren't working, I get to do this and I get to have fun and I get to be curious as how I'm going to do it. I like that part. So instead of complaining and worrying about why it's not happening, she knows it's going to happen because that's the goal she set and she knows she's going to hit it. She just gets to be curious as to how. Her stories, she shows lifestyle, fun, business, and challenge group, or her posts, I mean. Her stories, she invites every single day with a poll. Sunday, she does sneak peek invites, and she hosts an invite, or sneak peek weekly, that's what I'm trying to say. Position yourself as a mentor that will take them places. Nobody wants to board a train that they don't know where the destination is going to be. She's a badass CEO and she knows where she's going. So I think we can all get off this call like with our chest up a little bit higher, be a little bit more confident in what we're doing. We're going to wake up at least 15 minutes earlier tomorrow. And have open hands and have fun with this business and get people started on something and grow from there. So awesome. Thank you guys so much. We had 33 people on a majority of the call. So great. I will put the recording on my YouTube and I'll send the link to Joy so she has it as well. And everybody, do you want to smile quick and we can get a picture? Because we have to post about it.
You know it.
Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yay! All right, guys. Thanks so much. Have a good rest of your Monday night. And we'll see you next time. Thank you, Joy. See ya.